VHS on how to meet women in the 90's. It's not just because of my age, it's because everything else failed. So grab those cassettes for the lonely. It's not too late, it's not too late. Oh. Not because of my age, everything else failed. So grab those cassettes for the lonely. It's not too late. It's not too late. Woo! Not because of my age, everything else failed. So grab those cassettes for the lonely. It's not too late. Is it too late? Is it too late? Yay! Is it too late? Is it too late? Is it too late?
There are penises everywhere. There was like 8 of them. I touched them all, used them all, loved them all. Oh, look at that hair. Fucking perfect. I have not gotten an ass load yet. I predicted it. Where the fuck is it? Cram it in there as fast as you can. I'll put up with sticky fingers because I like the taste, the delicious, unparalleled taste. Jizz, you guys. Guys, check out my rod. Take a sniff and pull it out. A highly honed piece of machined product that fits snugly into your butt. Watch your buttholes. It's moist! I don't want to be splattering diarrhea. When it flashes my bottom, it's cold. Some people like to fuck each other in animal costumes.
Cool.
You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
And welcome to the show. My name is Dave. This is FFOP Radio. I hope you enjoyed that. What you just heard was cut together by FTO.
I feel like you literally said one of those things yesterday.
I love edits like that. I used to do that on my old show. I would take all the choicest bits like that and make something hilarious. That was so funny. Okay, so welcome to the show, everybody. Once again, my name is Dave. It's FOP Radio. We've got a special episode for you this time around. But let me introduce you to my co-host and producer, Krista's right over there on camera.
Hello.
I dressed up snazzy because tonight's the night we're going to learn how to meet women easily. And that's what this is called. How to Meet Women Easily. It's a VHS tape from 1990.
It was like a glimpse of Dave's mind, says Brick.
It's like a... I don't know, you walk into somebody else's mind palace if you're a Pendergast fan. You guys read books? I love books. And one of my favorite series is the Pendergast series. Started with Relic, went to Reliquary and beyond. I think they were at like book 17 by the time I checked out. Because like, Jesus Christ, how many times can you do the same shtick? Anyway, let's, here's what the reason for the season is. You can use this at any time. It's not specifically for Valentine's Day, but since it is coming up as of this recording, these are some skills you may or may not need. Now, I can't promise we're going to see all of it tonight, or maybe all of it ever, because it's 46 minutes.
Wow. 46
minutes, 55 seconds. Let's say 47 minutes of unadulterated 1990 action. So I guess, we'll see what happens. Moral of the story is let's jump on in. I had to advance it ahead like 20 seconds into the recording because there was a lengthy chunk of just black screen. I cut most of it out, so we're hopefully going to jump right into it. But if you're here for the ladies, I'm assuming we could somehow kick flip these tactics over to men. But here's the thing about men. Not as hard to seduce as women. Right? I feel like that's the law of the jungle. Yeah. Like there's very few tapes about how to land a dude because if you've got boobs, you'll do it. Typically. Whereas for dudes, it's a little harder because they tend to play goalie a little harder on the other side.
Dive on in.
Oi, brother. Let's go. Copyright claimed already.
I didn't hear you. Yes, it just came in.
Right, Brick? It doesn't take much for a dude, right? Because you can infer a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist. Like they're just exchanging some sort of common courtesy or like public pleasantry. And dudes will get horned up immediately, which is why, the videos of how to get women versus how to get men are like, what, 10 to 0?
Would be nice to dance to.
It is.
What's on the other side?
Well, it's another new one.
Do you mind playing it for me?
Yeah.
Is this a record station? Where are they? What are we doing here?
Radio
He's
station?
Gonna steal shit. See ya, sucker! Man. Yeah, totally.
Yoink.
This is how to win ladies over. You ask them to change the music in the businesses they own, and then you rob them blind. And then you come back and say, oh, you just got robbed blind. I'll help you. And then you solve the case because you're the one who did it.
It doesn't even need to be like any kind of accent. Yeah, yes. Any kind of accent is like...
It just depends.
Cool.
Because anything beyond your sphere of the norm is going to be exotic. Like Southern has a wild swath of like pleasant and unpleasant. So I don't want to say like they're all
That's
good.
True.
I'm content. The angels must
I was going to kill her with all those records.
Uh-oh.
Dude, there's so many glass panes in this room.
We
like,
see
what are you
you.
expecting to do?
just for
There you go, baby. Now get over here and sit on my lap. What?
Make me
Hi,
a
I'm Steve
martini.
Newmark. If you're like most guys, you see good-looking women every day you'd like to meet.
They're the people that you meet when they're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day. I'm a PhD, and it took him to get a doctorate to realize this.
And like most guys, you probably don't meet them as often as you'd like.
Am I right, guys?
Most men think they should just naturally have a knack for meeting women. But the truth is, it's a skill like any
PhD.
other that needs to be learned.
Yeah, you incels. Like, you have to put forth some effort. You can't be the ultimate fedora-doffing gentleman and expect women to, like, want to slob your knob. You have to be, like, a functional human being with charisma and, like, personality and depth. Also, I also want to point out, like, the zaniness of this backdrop. Like, there's lights in the frame, right? There's two huge spotlights, one with some shutters on it, one without, but they're not being used as light sources. They are used as props because, as you can see, we've got a harsh light coming in from off camera, right? What are we doing here? Like, I'm already thrown off. This feels like this should be a training video for like Blockbuster or some other move, maybe like a Dickinson Theater or something.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know y'all want to meet ladies, but let's learn how to meet popcorn. Let's learn how to make popcorn first. Then we'll worry about the ladies here at Dickinson Theaters.
There are people in
You
my
wouldn't
neighborhood?
expect to be a great surgeon
The
if you
people that you
never
meet
went
each
to
day.
med school. Well, unfortunately, there's no school that teaches you how to meet women. That's why we designed this video. To
That's
give you
why.
the information and skills you need to meet any woman you want.
Oh, finally.
With the techniques you'll learn in this program, you can take advantage of all those opportunities that pass you by every day.
And by opportunities that pass you by every day, I mean women.
Yes.
Take advantage of women.
Women are things.
Yeah, this is going to be... This guy feels like so white bread. Like, this is the type of dude that you would want to see. Like, if you look like this guy, you don't want to see, like, what's that? Like The Game, the pickup artist or whatever. You don't want to see, like, a goofy looking dude who looks like Jamiroquai in, like, a felt purple, like, pimp hat to be like, yo, dog, you got a peacock and shit like that. If you're an average dude in 1990, you want to see this guy telling you that he, like, lays pipe.
He's married.
Yeah, he should be exactly what I would want to see. Like, if I were my age now in 1990 and desperate, I'm not. I have charisma and, you know, I can talk to people, at least for a little while, long enough to fool a few of them. But, like, I want to see this dude be like, yeah, dudes, look like me and I get laid constantly. So, you know, buck up, Buttercup.
Here's an example
You
of
don't
what
have
I'm talking
Riz.
about.
Oh, there's a Subway restaurant. Where are we? They're on like a dock. They're like on the London. They're in the foggy city of Whitechapel.
Waiting for a bus.
As soon as they're waiting for the subway above ground. P.S. Like, as soon as he steps out of frame, Jack the Ripper's gonna come in, offer her grapes, and slit her up. I mean, if you buy into the William Gull, the Queen Surgeon theory, which I think is fucking ridiculous.
This is a nightmare.
Oh, side note, did you see that somebody, they found like DNA matched to some dude for Jack the Ripper? Supposedly.
That's a terrible can of worms to open right now because this show is already going to be long enough.
Well, you mentioned it, so that's why it reminded me.
Yeah, so let's talk about it for an extended period of time because I'm an amateur ripperologist. I don't think that they're ever... No, it's bullshit. We're 130 years, 140 years, whatever past the crime right now. I don't care what you do, what you collect. Like, the chain of evidence is fucking gone. All you're going to do now is fuel the theories and the speculations of any other crackpot out there. Anything you find will lend credence to a theory or disprove another one someone can use against them. Like, we learned this with Patricia Cornwell. She went out and, like, got William Sickert. He was an artist, a contemporary artist at the time. Got a bunch of his letters and a bunch of his paintings. She basically destroyed a bunch of historical documents and paintings, searching for DNA. Ended up coming with basically jack shit because how could you?
Yeah.
Like, what was being saved? Like, let's say the entire corpse of, like, Mary Kelly was thrown into a Ziploc bag. At this point, it's useless. And you can't. There's too much. Like, there are cases that will be... Like, the crimes are committed right now. Whatever you're watching this, there's a crime being committed right now that they will maybe detect and maybe solve, and that's when it's fresh as hell. Give it like, you know how they say in 48 hours, most crimes don't get solved? Obviously. We have now eclipsed that by several tens of thousands of hours. Yes, Patricia Cornwell, the author. I read that book. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But given, like, everybody else's theories, it has about as much weight. But she did take a lot of heat for a lot of shit that she did, like the aforementioned destruction of historical property and such like that, because she used a bunch of money to... It doesn't matter. But thanks for the digression. Here we go again.
I'm in love. I wonder if she's interested in me. I wish I knew the right thing to say.
Hey, you know Todd Colehip's favorite sandwich is the meatball sub. You want to go grab one, baby? Oh, who's that? A murderer. Ah! She runs away.
Doesn't he come over here? What does he need, an engraved invitation?
Do ladies actually think that way? Krista just left the room, so I can't ask her anymore. If there are any ladies out there watching this now or in the future, do you ever do that, or are you... It just feels like in my head, you're always like, I don't want to be hassled right now. Right? Mostly? I could be wrong. I'm only one man.
I can't tell. I don't have a clue.
And they're giving each other, like, no signals of, like, mutual interest.
Maybe I'll throw myself at her feet and beg. Nah, that never works.
Yeah, she'll be back. I don't know where she went.
Why doesn't she give me a sign?
What's wrong with this guy?
She doesn't seem interested. I don't need this. I'm getting out of here.
I'm going to Reddit. That's where men like me thrive.
Men.
What files is she going
Look
through?
familiar? Well, that's what happens to most of us. This tape will show you how to handle that situation so that you...
Out on the foggy streets of London town. You can't catch a break. Presumably he was waiting for the bus too, right? And he's like, screw this. This bitch won't even look at me. She's like so interested in her files. I can't even wait for the bus anymore. He fucked right off.
Come out a winner. During the course of this program, you'll learn our 5-step plan for meeting the women you desire.
If you ask my dad where someone went, my dad would say they went to go shit and the hogs ate them. Is your dad related to Susan Monica? I know you're not into true crime, FDO, but eerily similar, right?
The inner game of meeting women is probably the most important step of all. We'll show you how to prepare yourself mentally to ensure your success.
Maybe like, for step one, like don't pretend like the other person doesn't exist and just grapple with your inner monologue. Say hello, go hey, like what's up, what's your name, anything. Don't just stand there and ruffle your paper like you're Clark Kent waiting for a crime to go off so you can run into a phone booth.
Step number 2.
He's got no wrist. He doesn't even have a car. He's got to ride the bus.
Right, but so is she, right? Like that's the a 4 should meet a 4 on equal footing. I mean, obviously you've seen couples where the number score is way off, like it's a 4-8 situation or like a 3-9 or whatever. We've all seen that. But like, they were right on par with each other, both like solid 5s in the looks department, both riding the bus, both heavily invested in paper products. What else is there?
We'll show you how to tell if a woman is interested in you by her body language. And you'll find out how to broadcast the right messages through your own body language
and radio,
so that a woman will be interested in you.
Hey, good looking. I'll be back for that sweet ass later. You get one of those talking AM radios. You guys know what those are.
Even before you approach her. Step number 3, the approach. You'll learn the 5
approaches.
most effective ways to approach a woman. Step number 4, how to keep a conversation interesting. We'll show you what to
lie a lot.
do after you said hello.
No.
You'll learn how to keep a conversation lively and interesting and how to get her to want more. Step number 5, getting the date.
All this is just solved by concentrating on yourself and being an interesting individual. Like, it doesn't take much self-awareness to know, because everyone will tell you who they are, or at least the appraisal of themselves, right? Like, I would never say that I'm a meek, timid individual, so I know kind of where I am on the barometer. Like, these are the types of things you have to teach someone way before they're interested in finding a lady. Like, they don't know who the fuck they are. I ran into so many people like this growing up, and even to this day. That person who was like the proto-incel that I knew had such high standards, he was only going to like wait for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed nun who becomes a ravenous, cock-hungry whore at his touch. Meanwhile, never had a girlfriend, no job, no license, no life. Mm-hmm. So do you think it's you need to start kicking your shit into high gear when you find a girl who meets all those eerie requirements and then try to backpedal into being a real human? Or maybe you just go, hey, I'm going to develop some interests, maybe some physical fitness, do a little self-care, and then I'll start getting my dick wet, right? What's happening to Ice Truck Thriller?
Ryan says step 6, have her fly from Connecticut to Arizona and have her watch MST3K.
Yeah, that's the 6th step. If you can get them across the country and make them watch like Starfighters, you're gold. Or the Final Sacrifice, either one of those.
You'll learn the right things to say to get her telephone number or set up a date on the spot. The techniques in this video...
God damn, look at the size of his socks! Woo! They're like knee-high dress socks!
As they go all the way up.
Jesus, he's got compression hose.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know this guy's confident. He's telling you how to get women looking like this and wearing compression socks like a 90-year-old who has to take a long flight.
Look at the wrinkles in his shirt.
Yeah, what the fuck? This guy's a fucking disaster. Like from the waist down, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's got some secret where it's like women constantly look at the D, so your shirt can be wrinkly as you like.
Oh.
I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet. We've spent 20 minutes going over 3 minutes. Somebody brought up Jack the Ripper earlier, you guys.
Years of research, observing what works and what doesn't. We've talked to many men who are successful at meeting women. We've also talked to many women to find out what really turns them on. In order to have a complete perspective on what women really want, this program...
Oh yeah, massive hog always. Here's the thing. There's always that trump card where like, as long as you can be like, obviously you can't like whip it out on the first date or like show it to them on like a little wallet snap and be like, oh, how'd that get in there? And it just like tumbles out of the
Oops.
out of the space in your wallet when you're like paying, a la the wallet moth. $1 million idea, by the way. Don't steal it. It's already been stolen. But yeah, you have to like wear like this guy. I feel like maybe that's what he's doing. He's got pants that are clearly too small.
Yes.
And I think he's looking to outline the moose knuckle. So if at some point, like if the last, or like maybe not the last, but like the emergency string on your parachute that you pull and the other one fails is, like he stands up when his pants have been crunched up at dinner and that hog is like needed some time to breathe so you can shake it out and so you can see a little bit of the movement behind the material there. I'm not saying I've done it before, but I bet it would work. Wink, guys.
Is being co-authored by a very savvy female expert, Rebecca
With a massive
Sidmore.
hog. No, not her.
She's the author of the best-selling book, Making Love Happen, one of the most popular dating and romance guides of the 90s.
Just wear gray
To ensure your
sweatpants,
success.
and that's it.
Ew is right. Yeah, because then P.S. the ice truck, you bring up, I mean, indirectly, you bring up a something that you would, it'd be hard to explain. Like, because if a penis picture does fall out of your wallet, this is pre-cell phone, obviously. You're going to have to go like, 1, that's my penis, and then 2, explain why you have a picture of your own penis. I mean, either way, if it's somebody else's or yours, you're going to have a very awkward conversation. That's why I go with the pants strategy. Buy something one size below what you usually do. Let the hog sort of like constrict during dinner. Get semi-tumescent and stand up and be like, well, time to go. And then even if you fucking blown it, she'll go, that's a nice hog. I mean, if it's there. If you don't have a nice hog, you can't do that shit.
We've also
I am a
included
lucky
at the
woman.
conclusion of this tape
My magnum
a 30-day program for
Except
putting
to
these
show up
techniques
to
into
the bench
action.
and pull a Riker
Some
maneuver
of
to
these
sit on it.
Oh, yeah. Like, you go into a fancy fresh restaurant and, like, throw your leg over the thing like Riker and then order escargot. She'll immediately just become subservient. Because anybody with that level of swagger who can eat a snail, you're golden.
Suggestions may seem a little obvious to you.
Lucky
Let's face it,
guy.
this isn't brain surgery. Just know that this is probably the most comprehensive program available for meeting women.
In
And
1990.
most importantly, it works.
The inner light. This feels like something you would, just a few word changes and like we're all Scientologists at the end of this. Just know that.
Number 1 is the inner game, the contest that takes place inside our heads. You know, in sports, it's this mental game that often makes the difference between average and world-class athletes.
Yes, Bo knows banging. Remember? We talked about Bo Jackson last time.
The best athletes use many of the techniques we're going to talk about in this section.
In addition to like amazing skill, charisma, and a fuck ton of money. So good luck.
When I see an attractive woman that I want to meet, I instantly feel like I'm about 14 years old, and I sweat and I stumble over my shoes and I make a fool.
I get myself a sweater and I throw on my best purple polo shirt and I hit the town. Oh my God.
His collar's all
Look at him. He's like,
weird.
His neck, the white neck hole is all yoked out. Like he had a child hanging on it at one point.
Fool of myself. Very self-conscious.
You know, most of us pass by great opportunities to
addition.
meet women every day. The reason we don't is because we talk ourselves out of
old again.
approaching them. Here's an example of what we often do when we see an attractive woman.
Oh, here we're at the subway again.
Wow.
Hey, baby, what are you doing here? Like, here's what women really appreciate. Spoken dialogue. If you start eye fucking them immediately when they're sitting on a bench, they get creeped out a little, right? So instead of being like, like, jacking it through your Docker's pocket, be like, hey, are you riding the bus too? Or something. Like,
Hey,
break the
come here
silence so
often?
she knows that you're not like a Jeffrey Dahmer or going to like ask her to go take pictures a la Rodney Alcala style. Like, hello.
She's
Why are all
hot.
these unattractive guys acting entitled to attractive women? You're Ugmo. Get another Ugmo.
Right. But everybody tries to punch up, right? You don't know how far the ball will go unless you swing for the fences. Everybody should do that. Everybody should try their hardest. Everybody should bunt a few times to get a lay of the land. Right? I mean, if for nothing else, it'll build character. Like, you see the guy at work who eats the same sandwich every day, and he seems like he goes home, plugs like a charge cord into the side of his head and stares into a white wall for 8 hours. Play the field.
Ryan wants to know if that's
But
Tammy.
she won't be interested in me.
Subway, Arrow,
Oh.
Lady.
Now, Tammy, if this were Tammy, by the time our sub shop opened, she would have been like 70.
She's too good looking. And let's face it, I'm not that great. I'm not good looking.
Yeah, I would also not do like this whole shtick. Like, don't pretend you're a vaudeville performer, like worried about how you're going to defuse a bomb.
Not smooth. I'm too shy. I don't have a lot of money.
My hog's too small to buy the appropriate size pants to show it off.
She's probably used to going out with guys who are rich. I'm not going to go up to her and make a
She's
fool
waiting
of
for a
myself.
subway.
A lady like this in an Ann Taylor dress, you better believe she's messing with hundo heirs. I don't know what I did. I guess I'll just keep waiting for the bus.
So what stopped this guy?
Pop out
Fear
the
and
boobs. That
self-doubt.
might give him a
Two of our
clue.
most
Or at
potent
least just
enemies.
one.
Because of fear and doubt, the guy in the video talked himself out of being with a woman who could have been very interested in him. He put himself down to the point that he convinced himself that he would fail. And that's what happens to most of us. Even if we're not aware of it, we talk ourselves out of what we want. You know, we all have something we beat ourselves up about. We either
A club, a whip. We all self-flagellate. Didn't you guys join the penitente cult like I did?
are too short or too tall, too young or too old, too fat or too thin. There's always something. Well, the main difference between guys who are successful and guys who aren't is that the successful ones don't let that negative voice in their head stop them. This negative voice and the fear that comes along with it can be defeated. Every time you walk away from something you're afraid of, it makes you more fearful. But every time you face it head on, it makes you less afraid. That fear voice in your head that always stops you will give you a dozen reasons not to approach a woman. It's not the right time, she's probably not interested, I'll wait till I'm in better shape. You know, you've heard it all.
The Super Bowl's
The key
next
is
weekend.
to not pay attention to those excuses. It's just your fear. If you go ahead and do it anyway, you'll master that fear. And then
And that's how you see these couples, right? Like when you see like a 9 on the lady and a 4 hanging off of her arm, that guy has Riz. Or either that or he's wildly manipulative and she has issues. But more often than not, like if you see that sort of power dynamic or that like aesthetic dynamic, dude's got Riz. Because like you're not going to land someone better looking than you if you can't like rise to the occasion and be a sparkling personality. Like I always swung for the fences because why not? I mean, not always, obviously. We all, like I say, we have to play the field. But like if you don't try, you won't know. Like Krista got duped and here we are. All you have to do is just like you don't have to, like, look, my nose sits at a 27-degree angle offset of my face. Like, I've got very little offer in the looks department, but you just have to, like, pretend, and that's all that... Hello, we're married.
of all the women you can handle, overcoming that fear will be the difference between you and the rest of the guys. So here's what to do. When you hear those negative thoughts, give yourself a little pep talk.
That's the thing we saw behind...
Yeah, but his pep talk failed.
Right. That also, I don't know, man. Like, this is not... It's like so very basic psychology. This is like 1990 era, but it also kind of feels like it's the 1800s where it's like, hey, what's happening, Rachel?
Hey.
It feels like we're a hop, skip, and a jump from where we are currently, where it's like, maybe it has gotten a little more complicated, but like just a click back in time, women had to be prescribed vibrators because of hysteria. And like, we're still, I don't know, like having to like psych ourselves up just to talk to, but again, I'm going to go back to this. It all starts at just like being a person first.
Right.
Be that person who is confident with people in general. And then, unless you're looking for another dormouse type person, then you're probably going to be okay, because like attracts like in most situations. But this is one of those things where you're going to have to like have done things, have life experiences, have opinions on stuff, and share those opinions with others. Instead of like, you end up playing like table tennis to like win a prize, because at the end, if that person turns out to be a fucking nightmare and you were lying the whole time and you actually hated all the things that you were bullshitting about, where are you now? You're stuck in a relationship that you were too big of a pussy to try and get into, and you'll definitely be too big of a pussy to try and get out of.
Right. Yep.
Come on, guys.
Tell yourself the truth. That women want to be approached. They think it's flattering.
Dave and Krista's first date. Hi, nice to meet you. Plops hog on table. Now
I
married.
go, oh, it was in my wallet. I actually just replaced the picture of my hog with my actual hog. And I go, whoops, how did that get in there? Obviously. Like, it's not that long.
And that you're an attractive guy. She'd be lucky to meet you. It's also helpful to remember all the successes with women you've had in the past. You know, because your negative voice has influenced you for so long, you may not believe these pep talks at first. It may take a while for this positive message to sink in. But the more you give yourself these pep talks, the more impact they'll have on you. It's just a matter of replacing those old negative messages that make you feel like giving up with new ones that give you.
It's probably just me, and I'm sure it is because I have Gary Busey syndrome. But does his voice sound kind of like Neil Breen's?
Courage. This is exactly what the most successful athletes do before a game. They talk them
very slightly.
Okay.
Themselves into success. Let me tell you about a guy who wanted to try out these techniques.
Thank you, FDO.
And decided that the beach would be the best place for him to meet women. Well, he went there one afternoon, and he was really scared. He walked
and
up.
He got a fear boner. It was a bad day to wear a Speedo.
Up and down the beach for about 3 hours before he could approach somebody.
You know, let's not throw shade at people's forehead size. I'm semi-sensitive about that topic.
And by that time, almost everybody had left. But he didn't let his fear stop him, and he did go up to somebody. Soon he got it down to maybe 10 minutes of pacing before he approached somebody. The more
But by then they were spooked and ran off. Like if someone were nervously pacing around me, I would get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
GTFO. What the hell?
he did it, the
She
better he
will be
got.
mine. She will be mine.
Princess will marry me. Right, guys? So far.
Eventually, he got to the point
Steven.
where he ended up sitting down with 8 out of 10 women. And about 40% of the time, he came away with their phone numbers.
40% of the time, it worked every time.
The main thing he told me was that he got less and less afraid the more he did it. And then he became more and more confident. By the end, he'd conquered that fear.
Yeah, of the 40% of the women who gave him their number, only 20% were fake.
And he had a lot of women to show for it.
He called Radio Shack
You may
a
be
lot.
sitting there thinking, what do women think about all this? Do they really want to be approached?
Do you really care? And should you? They barely got the right to vote. Let's pump the brakes, guys. Let's just bag them and tag them. It'd be funny if he turns into Tom Likas all of a sudden. He's like, don't spend more than $20 on a date. I want to pork some butts.
Well, to find out what women really
Rachel says,
want
I know I just got here, but I feel like erectile dysfunction might be the elephant in the room. In his room, not ours.
But that's the thing. Like, if this guy is...
Look at those socks, though.
Right.
Whenever
I'm
you see
saying,
him
like,
again.
This dude has zero confidence issues. Like, he decided to step in front of a camera in like a shirt he pulled from the bottom of the hamper. Pants, again, maybe he was thinking about the shrink wrapping of the hog, but why would he? There's no ladies here. He's just shooting a thing. And then he's wearing what I think now aren't so much 2 socks, but one like giant underoo.
Oh, he's like wearing a
from,
long john?
like from the bottom, you know, like maybe just like male pantyhose.
Has some leggings.
Won't tell you, I'd like you to meet Rebecca Sidnor. She's talked to thousands of women because she's one of this country's
she's a
leading
woman.
romance consultants. To finish up our first section on the inner game, let's get the female point of view from Rebecca.
Finally.
Oh, boy.
Women admire men who have enough confidence to approach them.
What did I say, guys? What did I say? Here's a woman backing me up. I'm a true feminist.
What is she
Being
wearing?
approached is flattering. Women
She's wearing 1990.
love the attention and the feeling of being singled out. It makes them feel special.
It does look like she stole a tent from like the set of Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger.
Remember, women are romantics at heart, and there's nothing more romantic
She
than
does
having a
look
man
tired.
go out of his way to talk to you.
She looks like she's wearing a wig too.
It really makes our day. Don't let the fact that you're not a Tom Cruise lookalike stop you. Looks are not as important for women as they are for men.
Looks play their own part in it. They have an importance. However,
Hog size is where it's at. Hog size.
they're not the
Billie
most
Eilish.
important thing. Okay.
Why is she wearing a daisy on her vest like it's 1963?
It's called a brooch.
I don't care what it is. It's a giant daisy. Like I feel like maybe like they were just shooting like how they used to court back in the 60s, and she had like a tie-dye headband.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, looks would come in about a 5 or 6.
Women are more interested in the way a man makes them feel than the way he looks. A man with only average looks can succeed with a woman if he makes her feel desirable.
Then if he makes enough money.
Sensitivity is also important.
Bad
This is a
actress.
good sense of humor. Looks are secondary to these qualities. Don't second guess what a woman's type is.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a squirt daisy. Or maybe she's like one of the Joker's minions. She's going to shoot acid into this lady's face. Or maybe she already has, and that's why her eye looks like it's trying to, like it's so inflamed. Look at this one versus this one. It looks like she got hit in the head with a hockey puck. Like her pupils all blown out. She might be having a stroke as we speak, you guys.
Type of man may be. You may be perfect for her and not even know it. A lot of beautiful women I know are dating guys who aren't that great looking, but they had other things these women were looking for.
I've dated men who people would say they aren't good looking and they're shorter than me because I'm very tall. And for me, it has no consequence whatsoever. I mean, like I said,
Are you guys noticing something? Like the one dude they interviewed was like in the wilderness and there was a shit ton of wind noise and the lighting was shit and he looked like a guy who doesn't have any confidence. And then they pull in these 2 strong 8s into like a studio setting and then what?
I will break you.
Yeah, like she's Ivan Drago, the lady.
concerned that the person is honest and they're sincere.
Cut her.
Just cut her. Jeez.
Body language is a key to sending the right message to women so that they're receptive to.
Can I get her number?
Here's an example of
She's
a
like
guy
60 now.
using
Yeah.
the wrong kind of body language and sending the wrong kind of message.
Like this guy.
He's a good-looking guy. But
Is
what's
he?
his problem?
How the hell did he find a sweater that matches his socks?
I guess he thinks he's cool.
Why? Because he's
Yeah.
looking at his hands?
This guy wearing 2 layers of long sleeve shirts, penny loafers, and Argyle socks. Too cool for me. She's wearing a tablecloth, and this guy is dressed like Mr. Rogers' unemployed nephew. And he's like, out of my league.
A lot of guys like the one in this video try to act cool and indifferent.
Oh, look,
They
he's
think
sitting
that
in a
turns
different
women on.
position now.
They're
Finally.
wrong.
It's time to get serious about this shit. Don't try to be cool, guys. Try to be serious or sincere. I forget.
He's
Stars can get away
man-spreading.
with it because they're just great looking and famous. But for the average guy, acting aloof just turns women off.
I hate guys that especially if you go out to bars or whatever, some of those
Especially.
guys, they sit there so cool, you're supposed to walk up to them, and when you do, they're like, I know you want to talk. They just look at you like, I know you just want to talk to me. You know, that kind of attitude?
Well,
I hate.
If that's something that's like common knowledge, why do those dudes still exist?
Yeah.
Right? Because it works. Why do we put the same bait we've been using for 1,000 years on fish hooks? Because it fucking works. You can't complain about the fish or the marshmallows that smell like fish shit if they work.
I hate that. That's the worst.
Women are looking for a
Especially.
man they can trust and who's sincere, a man that is open and available. They're concerned about getting hurt. When they see a guy that communicates indifference, it's a warning sign that they could be hurt or mistreated. So it's important that you...
That's it. Thank you. I was like, what does this guy look so much like? This is early Michael Eisner, like pre-Disney takeover.
Communicate before you approach a woman that you're friendly and non-threatening. This is done by open body language, which includes looking directly at a woman with a friendly smile, not a piercing gaze. Don't ever leer at her body. Keep your arms uncrossed, and keep your demeanor friendly and available. Another tip before you approach a woman is to take a few seconds to observe her and see what you can learn about her from her body language.
Hey, women are afraid of being hurt. They're so afraid. That's why it's hard to get them, because they're always so skittish, like birds or chipmunks or squirrels. Women are a lot like woodland creatures. You have to walk very slowly and have like some carrots or peanuts in your hand, and you just sort of entice them over, and when they're close enough, you noose them. Or not noose them, you like...
Food's not a bad thing.
You tag them somehow. You get one of those dog poles that the dog catchers use. And, as I'm saying, it's like when you try to catch a bird, you got to put wear those glasses that have like a plate on them. You snag them.
You may notice things that could help you when you start talking.
Just stop and observe for a while.
you know, and see how the person moves, what the person is drinking, what the person is wearing, how the person might react to someone else that approaches them. And then you could just take those and take what you've learned and apply that. And if it doesn't work, so what? Big deal.
He is planning on getting with this G-MILF right here.
Like
He's
this
like,
lady.
P.S. There's a 67-year-old back there nursing a, what's that, an Amstel or something? Smoking a Pall Mall. As soon as the cameras hit stop, I'm going to go pound some sand.
You know, you
Hard
took a
no,
shot.
says
You're
Rachel.
either going to make it or you're going to fail, but at least you took a shot.
Now let's hear from
Just
Rebecca
give him a chance,
for
Rachel.
the female point of view about body language.
Too much thrusting turns me off.
Always give out clear messages that they're interested. And even if they do, men don't always pick up on them.
That's true.
Research
Her
shows that
right
most
shoulder
flirting
looks a lot
signals are
wider than
missed
her
by
left.
men, partly because they
Oh,
don't
maybe it's
know
just
what
because the way her arms
I
were.
don't know.
Like
She seems highly asymmetrical.
Irregular.
Because of the eye. Looks again, she got hit in the head like maybe she was like 8 at a hockey game and like a puck flew over the thing and hit her, and now she constantly has like one blown out pupil like David Bowie.
know what to look for.
She's wearing shoulder
Partly
pads. Yeah.
because
Oh, 1,000%.
For sure.
Most women aren't that adept at sending them. Sometimes we get embarrassed.
Hey, no argument here, Rachel. Here's the thing. I guess now it is very long ago, but I don't want to talk about how long ago it was. But a time ago, this girl I used to work with, we had like a mostly hate relationship. I hated her, but she was attractive. We sort of like got on friendly terms, and then I left that job and yada, yada, yada. So one day she calls me out of the blue and goes, I had a dream about you, invites me over to her house. And like at night, it was dark, she was wearing very little, and I had no idea what was going on. She wanted to probably get her back blown out, and I was like, duh. So we watched a couple of movies as she like probably was like oozing hints about what she wanted. I'm just like, whoa, cool, you have cable. So yeah, I can't tell you how many opportunities, with the benefit of hindsight, where I probably could have done something. I have very little experience to this day, simply because of that. If you don't know how to read that specific room, because it's easy to like find out what's happening in a social situation. When people want their genitals to mesh, that's when it comes to a little bit of a sticking point. Because like, where's that class?
Embarrassed when we see a man we're attracted to, and we don't want to get caught staring. And if we do, we feel awkward and look the other way. When this happens, a woman may glance your way, catch your eye, and quickly look away.
You
if
just
this
said
happens
that.
more than once, and you're not wearing a gorilla costume or happen to be her ex-husband, she probably would like to meet you. Now,
Those are the only two? Like,
That's
what if
it.
you're dressed as Mario from the Super Mario Brothers?
Nope,
and
she's
it's not
totally hot
Halloween?
for you.
Ooh, a plumber.
if she looks at you and smiles, or returns your smile, get up and move. She just
Smart
handed
move,
you an
Matt.
engraved invitation. She'll become discouraged and withdraw her interest soon if you don't respond. An excellent rule of thumb is that it's a good idea to approach a woman if you have a hint she might be interested. Chances are she will be.
Like, she'll tell you that she's interested. She'll tell you she had like a dream about you and invite you over to her place on a very dark night, and then walk around in basically nothing, and you'll be sitting there fucking with the Roku.
Observe the following demonstration, and you'll see a number
Yeah, all women are the same. That's what men base their reality on. That's why incels exist. Because they go, I'm a dude and I am owed some women because of, like, I don't know. I don't know how that happens. But that's what I'm saying. If you are a person first, people will want to fuck you more readily than if you're like trying to pretend like you're one as if you're an alien visiting Earth for the first time and just looking to sample the local dishes.
number of other flirting segments that you might be overlooking.
Dave needs some therapy about that.
Listen, I'm totally over it. Hey, did you hear about this summer sale, baby?
The woman
Talk.
in this video was flirting by straightening her clothes, smoothing her hair, and touching her face and neck. Women often touch themselves in places where they would like to be touched.
They wrote a whole song about it. Remember that song, guys? There
Next,
was
she
like
just
2 of
starts
them.
grabbing her boobs.
Yeah,
and then she's really interested.
That is so fucking subtle that I doubt that, like, humans are balls of neuroses by and large. Like when I had, before I cut all this off, I would play with it all the time.
Yeah.
So I can imagine if you have like some sort of fixation or you've got nervous energy, like I'm constantly straightening my shit when I'm at work. And I hope I'm not sending out signals to people like, oh, he's straightening his collar. Now he wants to get his bone on. Right? It can't be that subtle. Or if it is, like, you would have to be like off the charts level perceptive and confident, and that's not where any of the dudes that are buying this tape in 1990 are.
Yeah. Rachel says, surround yourself with members of the opposite sex with low self-esteem. The end.
Ta-da! Find someone with daddy issues, and you'll be in a toxic relationship your entire life. If that's all you want.
The touch. Are you anxious to touch my penis?
Well, I want to bring any pizza.
Last lady I thought was interested in me, says Brick, turns out to be a lesbian and was just very friendly.
Right, exactly. That's something that'll throw you off too. Like, I've told this story before, but like multiple dudes have hit on me, and oftentimes I don't even realize it until I'm miles away. I can't even I don't recognize it on any level. Ladies, dudes, throw whatever at me. I'm like a blindfolded man on the other side of a tennis court, holding a toothpick as you fire volleys from one of those machines. It has to be like a dead nut shot for me to like understand what's going on, and also have earplugs in.
I've seen women look at David like when I'm not near him, like if I'm like well behind him at the store or whatever. Like I've seen women look at him and I'm like,
I don't believe that.
He's my whatever.
Then your chances for success have gone way up. However, if you don't see these signs, don't...
What is this video called? It is called How to Meet Women Easily, parentheses 1990.
be discouraged. She may
No,
be
jeez,
interested,
that'd have
but
turned her
shy,
straight.
distracted, or just lost in her own thoughts. By the way...
Yeah, who is good at picking up subtle cues, Rachel? But that's the thing about dudes, is like we do things seldomly. Anyway, we do things subtly. Like it's going to be an awkward, sweaty mess, or they are going to have the confidence to get over the hump. Like, if a lady does this, and I'm in the same room, I'm going to go like, yeah, how's it going? Like, what is that supposed to tell me?
Don't waste your time on a woman who's wearing a wedding ring on her left ring finger.
Oh, really?
So, make the move, guys.
Unless you're a scumbag, like that shit still works.
You're right.
We're waiting.
Now we're going to show you the 5 most effective approaches for meeting women. After you watch this section, you'll be able to take advantage of all the opportunities that normally pass you by every day. One important thing to realize is that women are really concerned about their safety. There's a lot of nuts
They
out
like to read romance novels and eat bonbons, and they hate the sound of flushing toilets. That's ladies.
there. So the most important thing to communicate to a woman when you approach her is that you're safe. That you're
Wear safety glasses, get a reflective vest, a hard hat if you can find one, however, it's not necessary. The vest and a clipboard will get you in anywhere. Seriously, get yourself a vest and a clipboard, walk into the back of a bank, or walk into a woman's bedroom. They'll let you.
a gentleman. Don't be loud or overly aggressive. Be polite, respectful, sincere. Try to stay light.
Hey, he's one of those weirdos, Mr. Yabo.
And most importantly, relax and be yourself.
Just coming up and being yourself. Because
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Be forklift certified.
Yeah.
Like, be a welder, be anything that, like, women can attach a sexual fetish to. Not so much like cops, but definitely like a firefighter. Anything where you're, like, doing something manly, but not necessarily dirty. Like, be a cowboy or something. I don't know.
Because yourself is always going to come out anyway. So if you're not yourself when you start out, then you're not giving a good impression.
Or you are, but it's a false one.
Possibly the easiest and least threatening approach is to ask for a favor, some kind of help, or for general information. You can ask for the time, directions,
Oh, yeah.
anything.
If you're going to be a cowboy, don't eat anything but pace. Like, then she'll get the rope.
You can get the rope.
And then the ball torture starts.
to get yourself started talking and making contact with a woman. This doesn't have to be information you really need. It's just an excuse to start talking.
Most information I get from people I talk to is worthless. It's like stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that's very transitional, stuff like the weather, etc. Like 10 minutes, it'll have no relevance to anyone, not even the person telling me. But that's the human experience. Like that's what socializing is. We have these meaningless and sometimes significant conversations with one another just to get a feel. But like, it is like pulling teeth. Like, I don't mind talking to anyone about anything, basically, unless you prove to me that, like, this is a dry hole. Like, you can't bring an interesting opinion or something to the table. Like, you're only an answerer of questions and never an asker. Don't do that.
This approach is perfect.
Mr. Yabo says, in all seriousness, I wanted to talk to a girl my first day of college, and so I asked if I could borrow a pencil from her, and we dated for a year.
Yeah, that's another thing that, like, this comes from an old, way older than the 1990s. But Benjamin Franklin had a, like, foolproof method of getting enemies swapped over to the side of friends. So if, like, let's say he had a rivalry or some dude hated him, Franklin would learn about the person who hated him. And, like, for instance, he would say, oh, I understand you have this book and I need this book and you're the only one who has it. Will you please let me borrow it? What that does psychologically to the person is they start questioning why they're asking you, the person that you presumably have bad blood with. Mm-hmm. They go, well, I may be the only one who has this book, but even then, like, is that enough to blah, blah, blah? And so they eventually turn themselves around to be like, oh, I'm doing you this favor, so I must like you. Mm. And that's how you start. Like, if you ask someone for a favor, it sets up a power dynamic that is as small as a pencil or as whatever. It gets them, if nothing else, it opens the door and gets them to be like, yeah, I must. You get to, like, sort of amp yourself up as the person who's asked because you get to be useful to a person. Yeah. And however small the wall is, gets broken down pretty quickly. I've done this with people that I don't like and didn't like me. I've used this tactic at work and places like that. It works. We didn't end up fucking because I just wanted them to, like, stop being a fucking asshole or whatever. But humans are humans.
Are waiting in line at a supermarket.
Thank you, Ryan.
The man in the next video was nervous about meeting a woman. So he transferred his nervous energy into concern.
Mr. Yabo needs a cup of love. Stat.
About missing the train and used this as a reason to connect with her.
Excuse me, I'm new here. Can you tell me, is this the stop for the 5L?
Oh, yes, it is.
I know it says Subway, but and typically, like, if there were a board around here, like, what again? I'm so blown away by this terrible soundstage. Like, we're on a pier, we're on a dock, there's a Subway nearby. Like, this is like a Sesame Street After Dark scenario.
Do you happen to know when it comes?
Well, it should be here in about 5 minutes.
Good, I was afraid I'd miss it.
Oh, no, you haven't missed it yet. Just sit back and relax.
Oh, thank you. Do you mind if I stay?
No.
Oh, thanks. You've been a great...
Yeah, I'm waiting for the same bus as you. You mind if I sit here on this bench with you in this foggy old moor?
Help. I really was afraid I'd miss it. My name's Bill, by the way.
Susan, glad to meet you.
You too.
Oh, good news. We have boring names
Simple
in common.
enough technique. He just made an excuse to talk to her.
Right.
Chances are she's going to answer his question and then he's made the initial contact. Now, you're not home free, of course. You still have to keep the conversation going. We'll talk about that in the next section. Here's some other kinds of questions you can ask. Let's say you're at the supermarket. You could say, do you know how to tell if this melon is ripe? Or in line for the movie. Have you read any reviews about this movie?
Have you read the latest James Patterson novel? I heard it was great.
In the elevator. Do you know a good place to eat lunch around here? The advantage to this approach is that it seems spontaneous and accidental. It doesn't feel to a woman like she's being picked up. It also gives you an opportunity to start something with a minimum of risk on your part. The second approach we recommend is to offer a compliment. This approach has the advantage of starting off a conversation in a really positive way. After all, who doesn't enjoy being complimented? The trick here is to study the woman for a moment and notice what is really unique about her. What makes her special? There's always something to compliment somebody on, so this is an easy one to come up with on the spot. Here are some examples of the complimentary open. Clothing. That's a beautiful dress you're wearing. Those are good colors for you. They really bring out your blue eyes. Jewelry. That's a very interesting...
We're going to say jewelry and clothing are two different things?
Interesting necklace. What kind of stone is that? Smile. You've got a great smile.
You've got a good taste in melons. How are they on ripeness? P.S. If you want to know how ripe a watermelon is, if you lift it up, they're not being like weird sloshing sounds. There'll be no huge like yellow spots. And when you hit it, it'll sound hollow because I don't know what the principle is behind it, but if it's like light and not misshapen or like weighted weirdly and you knock on it and there's like a clean thump, not like a weird, like it's got to sound hollow. If you bang on it, it's like a bongo, you got a good melon. And you can teach that to a lady in the grocery store.
Her eyes. You have beautiful eyes, but I guess you hear that a lot.
I
Something
guess.
she's doing. You're a great tennis player.
Yes, Ryan. We've tried a watermelon mead and a watermelon wine. I don't know. The watermelon is it's a delicate fruit to work with. I've had it work as many times good as bad.
These may sound simple, and they are.
They
But
are.
remember that what's important here is that you
Breast
observe and be prepared to compliment a woman.
Cantaloupe is a little more difficult because you can't thump them because they're built differently because all their seeds are in the middle. You just have to look for a little give in the skin, not a lot, but a little, because if it's too firm, you're gonna have to let it sit on the.
He's asking if we've tried cantaloupe mead, probably.
Oh. No.
I wouldn't mind trying cantaloupe mead.
Right, but this is also good information if you're looking for a ripe cantaloupe and you say I'm going away for 3 days. I want to buy cantaloupe now because I want to have. Maple mead is a thing. It's called an acerglyn. It's okay.
If you were attracted to her in the first place, there's a good chance that what caught your eye in the beginning is what you can compliment her on.
Never had rhubarb
The
yet.
following is a demonstration of what the complimentary approach.
Okay, not to go like way off topic like we already are, but here's the thing, Matt. A weed mead is difficult because the cannabinoids are held in a fat-soluble solution, and so you would need some sort of like heat treatment and emulsifier to get those molecules homogenized through a water beverage. I don't know how they do it, like in, because there are weed infused gummies and cookies and sodas and stuff like that. I have no idea how they do it. It's probably some crazy scientific process, and I wouldn't even begin to imagine the licensing process.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way we could ever sell it.
Like, so just go roll yourself a joint, because you'll never find it in my mead. It'll be a fucking scientific nightmare, and I'm intensely stupid.
Which looks like in action.
That's a nice scarf.
Are you an Angela Lansbury fan by any chance?
I've been thinking of getting my sister something like that for her birthday. Do you mind if I ask where you picked it up?
Oh, just around the corner at this store. But it's
in the
Yes, Rachel,
void.
you want them to be a little pale, but also, like I was saying, soft to the touch, but not like squishy. Like when you're feeling a ripe peach or plum or nectarine, you want that sort of give, but you have to keep in mind the skin's going to be a little thick, so you have to factor that in. So when you squeeze them, remember, there's going to be a little give, but not a whole lot.
It is a honey wine, Rachel.
It's true. It's true.
Yes.
All of our mead, honey-based.
Yes.
But it's the last one that they had.
Oh, no.
Actually, I'm sure that there's others there that you'd like.
Oh, good.
As you see in this demonstration, the compliment nice scarf had a natural follow-up question. Where did you get it?
Montgomery Ward, are you a cross-dresser? She then asks. How dare you, he said. And they never saw each other again.
Continued the conversation. You could see that she was flattered by what he said, but it's best not to compliment a woman on her body, beauty, or face, because they carry heavy sexual connotations and may turn her off. So play it safe.
I also hate it when they sit there and all they talk about is how attractive they find you. I'd rather have them talk about that I'm funny or that
Yeah, like literally anything else. Like I am guilty of this too, whether it's ladies or dudes. If there's someone I admire, I tend to overshower people with compliments because I want to express to them how much admiration or whatever I have for them. But it does make things very awkward. I'm learning to step that back because like imagine you getting just like one after another and you just go, okay, that's great, thanks. And you go, oh God, shut the fuck up. Like, again, you have to be like a normal human. You can't just be horned up over like her cans.
said something smart that's much more appealing than hearing about my legs.
We get the horn? Why did we, what?
The spontaneous approach is situational. You use anything that's happening in the moment as an excuse to start talking to somebody.
Man, did you hear that guy honking his horn? Hi, I'm Bill.
Nice to
I've got a
meet you.
horn you can honk.
It can be the bus being late, the weather, something funny that somebody just did. The essence of this approach is to be spontaneous and to use whatever pops into your head at the moment. This conveys a light attitude that's very attractive to women. Women often like the unexpected and appreciate.
Yeah, you're the exception that breaks the rule, I guess, Rachel. I would get me a puppy and we'll test this experiment.
Somebody who can just wing it. This approach is especially effective when used with a humorous, light touch. Being light does a lot for you because it communicates that you're going to be fun to be with. And most importantly, because it puts her at ease and helps her to relax.
Make a few jokes.
He has this odd vocal intonation where he like loses consonants. I swear to God, he says puss and communicates. The person in a situation.
Maybe he's having a stroke too.
I mean, if you can make a few jokes
I feel bad for dudes with blonde or red eyebrows. Oh God, it's just. I mean, look at this. Look at him. Like the shadow is darker than the eyebrow, and it makes it look like he's got two pairs.
about yourself, not everybody's so uptight. You know, just
chill out, bro.
Small one-liners is great.
His crew neck is so high
I make
on
fun
his
of myself
neck.
all the time.
Or
It
is that
works.
supposed to be a turtleneck?
It's
It
just
looks
a
weird.
t-shirt with a slightly high collar.
This doesn't mean you have to be Robin Williams or even have a great sense of humor.
There are a few
it's simply
problems
a
here.
matter of taking a
Maybe
light
a few.
and playful attitude. This is an approach that women often use when they want to make contact with a man.
I know, right? It looks like he was wearing something acid wash, but I don't even think that material was jean. Denim.
Here's a demonstration of a woman using the spontaneous approach.
Park is all grilled up.
Is there any good news today?
Not really.
Those clowns in Congress are at it again. What a bunch of clowns.
I guess I don't need this then.
Litter. Let me look at social media. Oh, that doesn't exist.
You know, somebody ought to come out with a newspaper that only has good news in it.
You know, that's a terrific idea. I would be the first person to buy it.
Maybe we could start up a subscription base.
Oh,
huh?
what a wonderful idea.
There's plenty of people in this town that could use some good news.
It's true.
Yeah, we'll write stories about capybaras and Mudang the hippo and stories about how fluffy chicks are. Like, that's what people want to fucking read.
My name's Bill, by the way. What's
Oh,
yours?
How do you keep up with the news
My
like
name's
that?
Susan.
Hi.
Nice to
Don't
meet
praise
you.
the machine.
So, do you come to this park?
Hi, I'm Susan. And that should say Susan. It says Subway. This next sign's coming next week.
This guy was sharp enough to tell that she was trying to connect, and he kept things going by continuing the conversation in the same light tone. Remember, there's always something in any situation that lends itself to an opening. Just keep your eyes open and be ready to say something. If she's interested, you'll be on your way.
The gentleman approach. Get a fedora.
Women are looking for their knight in shining armor, so why not be one? Any opportunity you have to be
Hit up the Renaissance Festival in any country or county.
chivalrous, to do a favor for a woman is a lucky break. It could be offering her a flower, opening a door, lighting a cigarette, giving up your seat. There are a lot of these kind of opportunities. One example of this approach is buying a lady a drink or sending her a note through a bartender or waitress. She'll probably ask the bartender who sent the drink, and then she'll catch your eye.
If he told me he was a sub, I totally believe. Oh yeah, I've been watching The Boys, and like that news reporter who's like the sub to Ashley #1. I could see that happening here. Like this guy, like runs, he's a PhD and runs whatever company does. He's like, night everybody. He's like, see you Monday, Susan. And she's like, if I don't come back from Acapulco, and she's got like this Lee press-on nails, and they all have a good, bloodless office chuckle. And then he goes home and gets like handcuffed to like a leather bull, and some woman beats his ass like 6 shades of black and blue. I guarantee it.
Brick
If she
says, I
smiles at
sabotage
you-
women's cars so I can fix it, and then they'll be so grateful they date me.
Oh, someone cut your brake line. It's a good thing I came over and fixed it, because you would have died. Hi, I'm Brick.
And take that as an invitation. But give her a few minutes so it doesn't seem like you're pouncing on her, and then come over and introduce yourself. Talking about bars, another good approach for a bar or party is to accidentally bump or brush against a woman.
Accidentally. This guy is losing consonants left and right.
You like. While you're apologizing to her, you can introduce yourself.
Dump half of a lukewarm Coors down the front of her dress, and as you're dabbing at her breast to wick away the moisture, tell her your name.
Or if you're at a bar, situate yourself next to a woman and ask her to pass the popcorn. So what if there's no popcorn there? You've broken the ice, and most of all, started the conversation.
Yeah, like, oh, it's really crowded in this nightclub. And you just sort of like, oh, what's that? Remember the 90s song? You know what I'm talking about.
The direct approach.
The last and possibly the most difficult
This is when
approach
you
is the direct
pull out your hog.
Yeah.
Now, some men can do this well. For others, it's better to pick another approach that's more comfortable for you.
That's the only power we
With
need,
this
gentlemen.
approach, you find a way to directly introduce yourself.
Yeah, that 90s song. Yeah, that was the song I heard at every dance growing up was Turtle Power. It wasn't that Ray J. Was it Ray J? What is that song?
I don't know.
Can't help it. You know what I want to do, yeah.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. I don't know names of songs. I heard that song 7 times over the course of my high school career while I was grinding my junk up on some unsuspecting girl.
Your intentions to meet her are not disguised.
That definitely was not tub thumping.
Next.
Women report that they really appreciate a man who's honest and straightforward.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Rachel. What's the name of that song? It can't be like I feel a boner, right?
And is willing to be direct about his interest in her. Women also say that the smooth talker can often turn them off because it seems like he does this with everybody. What does work when men approach you? And what do you like them to do?
Whoa, he's actually behind the camera. I thought he would have just sent out some intern.
I thought it was the lady.
Talking head situations. That was the
Just guys
Macarena.
that are like-
Oh, next is the group.
I thought you were referencing Next, the old MTV dating show.
Next. Too close.
Next. Couldn't handle the dicky.
Next
Too
too
close.
close.
They're like they
Thank
don't
you.
like if they know that they want to meet you instead
If
of like
they
being all
know.
smooth ones.
They know, Steven. Are you fucking retarded? Brett Kelly.
They just, hi, I'm this, how are you doing? You're just being really nice, like a friend or something, not like,
Or
hey, I want
something.
to pick you up, Mr. Smooth. I hate, guys like Mr. Smooth Talker or something.
With a direct approach,
Sure you
it's
have,
helpful
Travis.
to introduce yourself and allow her a choice as to whether she wants to interact with
I
you.
didn't know your medical situation, so I brought you some peanut M&Ms.
I heard a
Don't
little
invade
pill
her
in the drink
space or
helps to
seem
pull the
too
ladies.
anxious. Remember,
I mean, if you want to pull a Cosby, the legal ramifications will catch up to you.
It's true.
Light.
I'm
Here's an
pretty sure I was
example of the
roofied
direct
once.
approach done the wrong
Well,
way.
100% positive I was roofied once.
100 times.
I think you're right, yeah. Just a minute, though.
Hey, that lady looks like she needs a good dicking. Oh, you're right. Let me straighten my vest. Here we are in the void. All these people live in purgatory.
Yep.
Speaking of the Divine Comedy, all these people are in Purgatorio just waiting for, what? And people in Purgatory just run out of clock and cry all the time? Here we go. They get to fuck each other.
You roofie me.
Hi, my name's Bill.
Hey, we're married.
Anybody sitting here?
No.
Obviously not.
Oh, do you come here often? That's funny because you look familiar. Say, do you know the owner?
No.
Oh, well, I do. We play a lot of ball together. I'm quite
We
a
play
ball
with each other's balls quite a bit.
player myself. I play second base, of course.
Of course. You see that pizza commercial where the guy and the kid in the right field with the red hair catches the ball and saves the day? This guy.
My law practice.
Maybe one of the
keeps me pretty
tips will be to
busy,
keep it
so,
as dark as possible.
Yeah, this is a very scary place to be alone with anybody, let alone this dude.
Yeah.
I don't get a chance to play very much, but just the other day, Fred was talking to me, that's the owner, and he said, Bill, I think you're the best second baseman we've ever had.
Is every character in this community theater videotape named Bill?
Yes.
Can you believe it? I've only been playing 2 weeks.
Look at this Chianti candle back
Oh,
there.
that was painful. Okay, what went wrong there?
David
First
Copperfield.
of all, the man broke rule number 1.
Yeah, of course he plays way out with the dandelions grow. That's how he made it great.
Violated her space and privacy by sitting down before really being invited. The second problem he had was that he only talked about himself, and he didn't know how to ask the right questions to draw her out.
And he was a close
Which is the
talker.
subject of our next section.
Ask
but first,
questions.
Rebecca and the woman's point of view on the 5 approaches.
Oh, finally.
Each of the 5 approaches has its own advantage. Asking for a favor is the least threatening for a woman.
Nothing.
Especially if you happen to meet her on the street. Women are usually eager to help others, and she'll be turned on by seeing a glimpse of your
Yeah, they missed the opportunity for that to turn into a Mentos commercial.
vulnerable side. Offering a compliment can be very flattering to a woman and put her at ease immediately. You guys just don't know how much time, energy, and effort we put into
You can hide a pill in a piece of cheese and rub her throat so it'll calm her down.
looking good. So why not tell us about it? The spontaneous approach is very natural, and it allows you to show your originality. Women like men who are unique, and if you can make her laugh about something, you'll break the ice immediately.
It's my entire
Say
shtick.
something that is catchy, you know? Something
These are getting a little too spicy for the pepper. Oh, my panties.
that you know, makes you look twice.
The gentleman's approach works really
Please
well
help me.
because, as far as most women are concerned, romance and sensitivity never go out of style. It's the little things like opening a door for a woman that really make a big difference, believe me.
But you're only obligated to do that while you're dating, and then it's all off
here's
the
what I would do.
table.
I would get a long stem rose, and I would run the bud down my cheek and off my chin, and I'd flick it at her, and I'd go, I cry a lot. I'm sensitive. And I'd give her a couple of taps with that baby, and she'd run away. And I'd try
And
it
now
again.
we're married.
100% of the time I struck out with that, but I kept going because it was building confidence.
Or with me, if a man comes up and gives me a flower, I really like that.
The direct
God
approach
damn,
is
hurry
very
the fuck
flattering to
up.
a woman
Come on, baby.
because the man lets her know up front that he's interested.
I want a man who will, as he's being hauled away for domestic violence, he'll stick his head out of the back of the police car and he'll go, "You can touch my cigarettes, bitch."
Women are usually immediately impressed with a man who
You're
has
in
the
jail.
chutzpah to walk over and introduce himself. You don't have to be a smooth talker to be direct. In fact, most women are turned off by guys who hand them lines like, "What's your sign?" or "Haven't I seen you here before?"
It's true. We've said this. I've said this before. David's first words to me were, "Hey, looks like we rated each other pretty high. I'm Dave." That because we met online, not in person,
I
but
said,
still.
"What's your sign?" Because astrology is a real science. That's how we went, went from there.
These lines make a woman feel like you're just trying to score.
Things you never do is ask for somebody's horoscope sign or have I seen you before. One of the best cities I ever lived at was Denver. And out in Denver, people there were just so friendly that they just wanted to meet you. And I
Nobody wanted to know my sign or my Chinese zodiac. Maybe that would be more unusual. Like if you say, "What's your sign?" Like, P.S. That feels like so 1970s. Maybe it hung on to the 80s. Were dudes in 1990 going like, "What's your sign?"
I've never been asked that. I mean, but not in the 90s. I was in the 2000s, but not.
Right. This is like when nobody here, hopefully, was around to get that question asked. But if it's coming up here organically, I can't imagine they're feeding this woman a script. Like, don't ask what your sign is.
I think that's the big key.
Don't pull a Bill Engvall and hand someone their sign that just says, "I'm stupid."
Is not to look at a woman and think, "Oh, can I be with her tonight?" But more look at her and say,
If someone asks you that, that's the thing I struck. If anybody, any gender, anywhere asks you what your sign is, you can just disengage immediately, turn around, feel no social stigma, just walk away. There's nothing there for you.
and find out who she is and what she like, and approach it more towards a friend.
If you're a little shy and
Oh yeah, maybe like Jim Roush when he went to the swingers club. There was probably a decent amount of like, "What's your sign?" Maybe that's code for like something. I don't know. I'm not into sex culture or pervert culture.
uncertain at first, that can actually endear you to her.
Sandwich board.
She'll feel special that you overcame your discomfort to approach her. It doesn't matter what you say, it's making the contact that's important.
When a man approaches me, I don't want him to act. I want him to be himself. I want him to be honest.
They got everybody's Jewish aunt to like give in her 2 cents.
I guess it's nice if he comes out to be a little bit shy.
I guess it's kind of nice.
Step number 4 of our.
Oh yeah, Lilith, a little bit, but like, I don't know. She reminds me of my Aunt Sandy because I have 2 Aunt Sandys, so one of them is Jewish. 100%.
5-step plan is a very crucial issue of what to say after you've made your approach. This is where many men have the most trouble. In the
Yeah, a little
preceding
bit.
video, the man made a crucial mistake by focusing the conversation totally on himself. He was trying to impress her with how great he was, but he just bored her.
Why can't men just be themselves?
You know why men can't be themselves? Because women do stupid shit like this. Make their eyelashes longer, shape their eyebrows. They do a bunch of weird shit that guys don't give a fuck about, but girls judge each other over. So we, in turn, take all of that to mean you're aiming it at us, not at your catty friends. And you're into one-upsmanship like dudes do with trucks or TVs or whatever. So dudes go, well, if all this effort is put toward me, which it typically is, and it's to show up other ladies. Because, like, again, I don't give a, like, eyelashes, long, short, none, don't give a fuck. As a dude, never found a dude. I've asked this question legitimately hundreds of times over my life. I would go, any of these things tick the box of like make it or break it, or even, not even make it or break it, just like anything to consider at all? No, never nail length or color, never eye, makeup style, eye shape, none of that shit. It's fucking bonkers. So, but dudes look at that and they go, well, that's all the things that she's putting on to do to get it at me, peacocking. Now I gotta be a fucking, I don't know what we're doing here. Just have a massive hog. That's all you need.
Quit trying to prove that there's something they're not, or something bigger than they are, or that they know so and so, and that they've got all these connections, and that they're great, and that their business is going well, and don't be so much talk. Just be yourself.
Unless you're looking for a gold digger or a sugar baby, then they'll want to know that shit.
And quit trying to impress people.
They need to look put together, yes, Mr. Yabo. Everybody needs to be put together, but don't like kick it up to 11 because you have some hang up about things that literally nobody cares about. Like Maybelline and Revlon made you ladies think like Axe body spray and everything that aimed at dudes made us do. It's all shit that like, it's like, who gives a fuck?
Rachel says women should stop wearing makeup and see how that goes.
Right, because that's one of the things that I feel, and this is well-trodden ground, but how many times have you met someone, seen them in real life, or like you go away on like a vacation that's like a big group of friends, and all the ladies exit their bedrooms with no eye makeup, and you just go like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. There's so many people in my life that can do that. Like, take for example, like a drag queen. They can go from a person who looks like me, and they shave off all their facial hair and throw in a bunch of makeup, and you go, whoa, there's like angles and shadows and stuff that don't exist, because that's what makeup does. It makes things seem like there's texture and lines and stuff. And then when they wipe that all off and their face is as flat and flabby as like, what are we doing? Just be upfront. Then you don't have to like have that shock of like, it's like meeting another person all over again. Like, I'm bad with names, so I really hang on the facial features of people until I learn their names. And that's the cruelest prank to pull on a person like me, is you see them with makeup on all the time, and then they have a totally different face. You go, and you got to readjust. It's like, again, it's like meeting someone for the first time, and you go, don't I know you?
Because when we're out and we see some guy...
I don't know how many people you're dating who have their... Medicare card, Jameson, but like, I've not had any dates where like they pull out their dentures. No, not a one.
Trying to impress everyone around them. That's a pretty big turnoff.
The best strategy to keep a conversation going is to focus your attention on her. Women often complain that once a man approaches them, they talk too much about themselves. That's a big mistake. Find out what the woman is really interested in and ask her questions about that interest. Really listen to what she's saying and show by your follow-up questions that you understand what she's talking about.
When they talk about themselves, and they don't talk about feelings and personal and relationships like you and them. They just talk about themselves. And then sometimes they'll say, oh, I've been talking too much about myself. What do you think of me? That's my favorite.
Do that just anywhere you go. This is just like life advice, but it's good that it's coming up, because when you're talking to people, like, just listen to them. They'll tell you everything that you've ever wanted and didn't want to know. And maybe boring, may not be. But the upside of that is you'll always come off with like a good impression on their side. if you let someone gas on about them or just ask questions about themselves and like let them roll when like typically you're trying to, like a lot of people aren't listeners. They're waiting for that break in the conversation to interject their shit and not really paying attention to what's going on. Just like give like not even 100% to them, like 70, 80% of the conversation. Just keep like focused on them, and they'll always come away from that interaction thinking you were, you know, the like, I don't know if to say the winner, but like you're going to gain stock. Like anytime I've met someone, and I realize this only after the fact when you leave and you go, man, that person was like pumping me for information, but they're also doing that psychological trick. Whereas if you appear interested and, you know, they ask you, you'll go, whoa, that person really had an interest in me. So their stock raises in your mind. It's like, again, like with the Benjamin Franklin, the book thing, if you're putting the onus on them or like the focus on them because they're the important part of this equation or the interesting part, then like you come away with 10 charisma points in their head every fucking time.
Another mistake the man in the video made was asking close-ended questions, ones that only prompted yes or no answers or simple responses. The best questions are open-ended ones, like, what do you find most interesting about your work? Or why did you decide to get into your profession?
They're in Mortal Wombat.
In the first place? These require longer answers and give the other person more to talk about. Here's an example of how to sustain a conversation in a way that works.
You're right.
For some reason, I was a person people in the office would talk to, and I'd end up knowing it so much without having to ask. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Brick. Like, it's counterintuitive 1,000 times out of 1,000. What people want to do when they talk is talk about themselves or get something off of their chest. So if you're not the type of person who wants to step on other people's conversation and like interject most people just want to be heard. And it takes self-control to not be a wait talker and sort of fill in the space and like one up or try to match their energy. Like 10 times out of 10, if you just let people talk to you and ask them follow-up questions, they'll go, oh my God, thank you for blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go like, oh, you know what I did this weekend? They go, I don't give a fuck. We're in a void. I don't know. There's nowhere else to go.
Let's finish this up later, okay?
Yeah, you also cannot manufacture chemistry.
Hi.
If it's not there, it's not
My name's
there.
Bill. I saw you sitting over here, and I just had to come over and say hi.
Hello, my name's Susan.
May I join you?
Oh, please sit down.
No.
You know, my friends tell me a lot of lawyers come here. Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm an accountant, but I do work for a law.
Right, that's another good point, Rachel. You can also get a lot of gossip out of people. So it's like, two things. They'll walk away thinking you're a good person, and if you're not, you can stab them in the back with that information later. You know, whether you want to be like lawful good or chaotic neutral anywhere on that big 9-panel chart, it works all the time.
For a law firm.
Well, now that sounds interesting. What kind of work do you specialize in?
Entertainment law.
Oh, now that's exciting. Do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
Do you like
You
entertaining?
wouldn't believe the things that we hear and see
I'm
in
a
the
hooker.
field.
Like what?
Well, the other day I was on the phone and someone else was on the other line,
Yeah.
and I picked it up, and you wouldn't believe who it was.
Who?
I
Robert
was
De Niro.
listening, and I almost recognized the voice, and then I realized it was Jimmy Stewart. Can you believe he was actually...
Guys, Jimmy Stewart. It's 1990. The
Oh my
hottest
God.
actor in the world.
You had to call a lawyer.
Vertigo's Jimmy Stewart.
calling
Jimmy Stewart was
Penny
calling you?
dropper,
Oh, my
Jimmy
It
goodness.
was
Stewart.
extraordinary.
Now that was much better. This guy introduced himself properly, waited for an invitation to sit
Right,
down.
but that story just goes to show that like she picked up a line that was in use and listened to somebody
Yeah,
else's
she was
phone call,
eavesdropping.
violating their right to privacy.
Right.
This date's over. You splash the champagne in her face.
Asked
I'm going
questions
back to this part of the void without you.
about the woman and showed a genuine interest in her. It's useful to keep the following in mind when talking to a woman. Make eye contact with her the whole time. Don't look around the room and appear distracted.
Don't look at
Make
her
her feel
boobs.
Don't look
special.
distressed. They
Don't
can
forget
sense
to
your
smile. Nod to show your interest.
fear. Ah.
Lean towards her. This
Shake
will
your head when you disagree with something slightly.
draw her to you. It's also useful to repeat her name, but not too often. Most importantly, listen carefully to what she's
What the
saying.
moon,
That's
Mary?
the key. When you talk, it's helpful to paint word pictures. For instance, when you describe an event you went to, describe what it felt like, what you saw. Create a story that puts the listener into the picture with you.
do some legwork on your own. Write things like stories down and keep like your phone open to thesaurus.com or just buy a pocket reference. It'll help you immensely because by the time you say something is big for the 14th time, you're losing it. Like any riz you have,
You don't have riz.
like your dead dialogue and your passe word choices are just going to be like, okay, like I don't know. It's just one of those things that like irritates me is when I hear the same adjectives over and over and over in the same story. I go, my God, man, like you have no other, I'm losing my perspicacity.
And be enthusiastic. This will get her
forget to
enthusiastic
smile.
and
Is this for
excited
people with
about being
Asperger's?
with you.
If they're especially educated in something, you know, that's kind of
She's wearing like a vinyl space suit.
Yeah.
She plays one of General Zod's henchmen.
masculine or you know whatever it may be, then I think it's interesting to me to hear about it. I get excited for them because if they get really into it, I get really into it.
Best first date Brick had was when she said she loved cocktails, so I took her to a really cool cocktail bar and she sealed the deal that night.
Right.
Not sealed the deal that night. Sorry.
I was interested to see if that story was going to take an abrupt turn like Dirty Limerick style, but good for you.
Now, don't be afraid to show your interest. That's very important. But at the same time, be prepared to let go of the...
I don't know. The girl from Plumbers Don't Wear Ties had a much more raspy voice, but I've got an eye out because she had to be captured on multiple VHSs. I guarantee it.
Conversation at any point. Be ready and willing to walk away. You want to convey the feeling that you think she's great, but you don't need her. Remember, there's always more women to talk to. Also, keep in
Just ask these great white backup dancer rejects. This one would try to get into a Firehouse video on MTV.
mind when talking to a woman that she's experienced the following scene all too
The
often.
following symptoms: anal leakage.
I really like this woman. She's hanging on my every word. I guess being a dentist is more interesting than I thought.
I should tell her about the motorcycle I bought and threw $9,000 worth of chrome on that I'm later going to sell after putting 2.5 miles on it. My God. Not for nothing, guys. If you ever get into like motorcycles, you want a dentist's bike. They're the type of people who buy a Harley, chrome it out with $10,000 worth of shit, new pipes, new seats, Mustang saddle, the whole nine. And then, since motorcycles depreciate quickly, you can pick it up for a fucking song. And you go, thank you, Mr. Dentist.
This feels wonderful. I think I'm really falling for this guy.
I love her hair. And those eyes. I'll never get tired of looking at those eyes.
This could be the one. Ron is great, and we still get along so well.
And we love coming to the void for every meal of every day.
Right.
Because we can't leave. It's purgatory. We're waiting for God to wash us free of our sins. I'm not sure when that'll happen. When the trumpets blow and, Armageddon happens, or before. Not much transparency here in purgatory.
Rachel just says
I
run.
hate this. I just don't feel it anymore.
My
I
boner's
have a
gone.
funny feeling, though. I wonder what he's thinking.
She's such a nice person. I hate to hurt her.
I'm going to stab her with
don't
this
be
butter
silly.
knife.
Oh, they're the country crock couple. They were breaking up.
Everything's all right.
Okay, Ron. Gotta do it, man. Time to tell her.
I hate you.
Because many women
What?
have had this experience, they're often cautious
Like
and
a
afraid.
shit.
Don't take it personally. If a woman doesn't seem to be wild about you right away, she just may have come out of a bad relationship or maybe shy or scared. That's why it's important to try to make a woman feel safe.
Women are skittish. So as soon as you get done with them, dump them. Get to your favorite restaurant 3 months in and say, I'm out of here.
You want to win her trust.
The
best way to do this is to be honest.
By the third month, Brick, touch my hog has been uttered hundreds of times, ideally. They've been going on for 3 months. It's 3 months later. Touch my hog. Oh, we're not even married yet. What will God think?
Genuine. That's very important. If you're dishonest, a woman will feel it, even if she can't put her finger on it. And it could make her feel suspicious and defensive.
This is
Now let's hear
suspicious.
from Rebecca about how to keep a conversation interesting.
Many men ask me, what is it that women want? Well, what they want most
Yeah, they work better when they collide. Rachel knows.
of all is more intimate and open communication. Women want to hear less about what kind of work you do and car you drive, and more about your thoughts and feelings. You may think that women are looking for the strong, silent type, and that might have been true 20 years ago, but times have changed. Now women are turned on to a man who's sensitive and open. That makes a woman feel like she's getting to know you as a person and
Right, that's why I would tell women that I cry often on dates. And then I would never hear from them again. What's going on with that?
creates a bond between you. Basically, you're looking for a best friend as well as a lover.
I'd like to get to know men as people, you know, and I find that hard sometimes.
They won't share their feelings all the time, you know, they don't like, or even if they do, they just don't express themselves, so you don't understand them.
Be honest with the woman. Be as open as you possibly can. Let her know how you feel about her, if you can get it out, about life in general.
If you can get it up.
Just be honest. Don't tell her what you think she wants to hear. Tell her what's really in your heart.
Oy
So you may be
vey.
wondering, how do I do this?
Make sure you get enough candles for the menorah, because my aunt is coming over this weekend.
Yeah, that girl with
Start
the
by
red
opening up in
or the
little-
gold necklace is very annoying with the
is.
sunglasses.
She's like a 20-year-old that this like, oh, I have a thought. Like,
Ways. Let her know how you're feeling
gefilte
about something
fish.
that's happening to both
well,
of you.
matzo bride.
Like how you feel about the movie you just saw,
be
or the
retail.
kind of day you had, or how you really feel about her. It's important not to just tell the facts, like I worked hard today, but the feelings too.
I worked hard and it felt good. Ah, he's opening up.
Oh,
Like how you felt about your boss pressuring you. In
I felt
turn,
pressure from my
listen to how
boss.
she expresses her feelings and sympathize
Baby,
with her.
I just want to bang your weird body with my weird body and make little weird kids.
Yeah. Looked like when Hans Moleman and, what was it, Selma or Patty was having that daydream about those kids that she would have with them and they fall out the window.
Without trying to solve her problems, try to see things from her perspective. She's not looking for advice, but for a friend. If you listen to a woman, she'll tell you everything you need to know to win her heart.
And men, it's like they just don't listen. They don't listen to what women are saying. It's almost like we spell it out.
I'm saying, Rachel, like, that's the problem that is only clear to you after, like, the train is off the track or whatever has happened has happened. Nobody is touching upon this. And, you know, when I was a young man and in the dating scene, this is the kind of bullshit I would have bought hook, line, and sinker. I wouldn't have had the wherewithal and the self-awareness to be like, oh, just be a well-rounded person who's interested in other human beings. And that's like a knockout every time. You don't have to like be told to not blow yourself in front of somebody else because you think you're more important. Like develop maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome and find some fucking humility. I don't know.
For them, this is what will make us happy. 1
Yeah,
to 10.
wash your balls.
This is all you need to do, and I will
Clean
be
balls.
your most loving, wonderful girlfriend, wife,
pizza
whatever you
guy.
need.
Women are attracted to a man who's spontaneous. It's stimulating and exciting when we don't know what to expect next. Being spontaneous means being in the here and now with a woman, rather than wondering what you're going to say next. It means taking a chance on being yourself, rather than screening or editing what you plan to say next. If you're not afraid to express the
Obviously.
way you really feel, you'll come across in a more genuine way, and that really turns a woman on.
Men are sexy when, what, physical features or just, like, just when
What?
they're really sincere, when they do something.
What do you want me to say?
She reminds me of George Hughley III. I was like, Yardley, I just want to talk, man. I just wanted to talk.
Like something really like goofy that's kind of stupid, but you know they're doing it.
She's
just 'cause
drunk,
they
yeah.
like-
Yeah, she's like on her 9th mimosa because this is like Southern California and she has no job because she is a sugar baby. She's like, oh, what? What do I find sexy? Hold on, let me drain this baby.
Like you, I think that's sexy. And
Waiter, another mimosa.
just like when they're just out there being themselves, having a really good time, and not like bothering to like put up a front, like you know if they know somebody's
She's
watching
not dad. She's not dad.
them, you know, trying to be something different when they're themselves. I like that.
If a woman does seem interested in you,
I feel like
here's
she
some
just said
advanced
nothing.
flirting tips, probably not to be used on the first encounter. Touch her on the arm or hand briefly, and then slowly withdraw.
Poke,
If you're very bold, you might want to touch her briefly on the cheek. Women find this very sexy.
If you're
Touch
very
her
bold.
briefly on the buttocks. On the cheek? I don't know, man. That feels a little Victorian, right? A little Edwardian. Whatever. There's always going to be simps out there. And when I was in high school, I had a crush on this girl named Carly. And this other guy who, whatever, he was short and round and did not have Riz.
You don't have Riz.
And like he was interested in the same girl. So we were kind of like both shooting our shot at the same time. And he did this thing where he was like, he didn't have a hat on, but he might as well have just been like, whoop. He put one hand behind his back, took her hand in his hand and kissed her hand. Guess who she walked away with? Let's go. Because I wasn't like, that was so fucking cringe. Oh, like, don't touch the cheek. Don't do any of that shit. You want to do the arm? That's totally fine. Don't do like the back. Just don't. It's like, ugh. I felt so bad. I wanted to throw up from both of them. She still would have walked away with me. Like I could have blown hot dog chunks and nachos through my nose and still would have come out ahead. Milady. Ugh.
Women are especially turned on by a soft, low, husky voice whispering near their ear. Avoid overtly sexual comments and speak in a slow, intimate voice that will draw her nearer. When speaking
How dare you, Rachel?
directly into her ear, make it short and sweet and do it only once.
I wouldn't do that
You might
either.
say, I love the way you smell, or I'm glad I met you. That's powerful.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, you want to lean in after you've touched her cheek and you go, double cheeseburger, no pickles? Got some fries too, but the fries might be cold.
Okay, guys, you've successfully approached her and you've had a good conversation.
You successfully approached her. You smell
Now,
party.
don't make the mistake of not asking her out, or at least
FDS
getting
says
her
when I was in high school, this girl left another guy for me. He didn't like me. The next day, his arm was broken from punching the brick wall at school. Damn.
I've been there, I've been Mr. Get Yo Girl, like in high school. I feel like everybody has had that because relationships are so fickle in any school setting. You can just, whatever, they dissolve rather quickly. I don't know, man. I've had people try to bird dog my chicks my entire life. I don't know. Those are the people too try-hardy. I was dating this one girl, and my friend at the time was just on her. We'd all go out as a group, and it was I didn't even exist. He was all up on her, trying to shoot his shot at every chance he got. Now, did he make the basket? No. I had Riz, and he had 400 extra pounds on his frame compared to me. Not that the fat guys can't get chicks, but it was cringy was the problem. Because he got chicks of his own. Surprisingly, he got a bunch of good-looking chicks. But to be honest, they were damaged, and he did not have the Riz that this guy had. I mean, you don't even have to have much. I don't have a lot.
Your phone number. Sometimes guys will back off of this crucial point because they don't want to get shot
so
down.
shady.
But you've come this far, so don't quit now. And don't make the mistake of postponing this part for too long and then overstaying your welcome. Spend enough time for her to get to know you, but leave soon enough so that there's still some mystery. Notice how in this video...
This is a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm saying confidence, charisma, personality are all the boxes you need to tick. I mean, it helps to have all the things that everybody says don't actually matter, but do. They just don't matter as much if you're another real person.
Finds a complimentary and playful way to ask for a date.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Man, their glasses are so close to the other one.
To date?
And they're still so full. Are you old enough to date? We're both sipping champagne and have been nursing it for she's at least had some.
Yeah.
Looks like he hasn't even touched it.
Well, would you date me if I behave? Huh?
It depends on how you behave.
Ugh, I hate ratty ass hair like this. It's not her fault. This is not an ad hominem attack. But that was the style at the time, and it's fucking disgusting. This fried, dried ass tumbleweed bullshit that was on everybody's fucking head from 1986 to 1992. Ugh.
How about dinner next Saturday?
Love to.
Can I have your number?
No.
Sure.
Oh, sure. Let me
Pretty
write it on
good,
your
huh?
hand.
He
Pen
made asking
15.
for the date playful and sexy, so she was in the mood to say yes.
Which was the style at the time.
Now let's hear from
Oh,
Rebecca about how women
1982.
feel about being asked out.
Most women prefer a man to be confident enough to ask for a date instead of just her phone number. If he asks for her phone number, he might not call, but if he makes a date, she knows he's really interested. Have a business card or a pen or a piece of paper handy so you don't have to fumble around.
A pen or a piece of paper. You can have one or the other. Hopefully she'll have a pen if you have the paper.
Yeah.
If someone brings a rock,
it's fucked.
Everything is lost. Bail. Bail.
So men, remember, there are a lot of women out there who would love to meet you. Now that you have the tools to make it happen, you have a big advantage. So good luck.
And stay away from Reddit. Stay far, far away from Reddit. I got an actionable plan in under 30
Meeting
days.
women is a numbers game. At the beginning, you may fail more often than you succeed. That's normal, and it will get better. It's just the nature of this particular game, not a reflection on your looks, style, or personality. We suggest you follow...
I mean, if the rejections stay consistent, it might be. It might be one of those things. You may have to back off, reassess, like change the deodorant, add deodorant if there isn't any, learn a skill, pick up a book, keep a thesaurus handy.
Follow our 30-day action plan to get
Walk up to a
maximum
woman,
results.
ask if she has a pen, and a pen you can use, then ask for her number. You're welcome.
Will that work, Rachel? I'm going to try it. Wait, no.
Andy, we're watching how to pick up women in the 90s.
Yeah, if you want to pick up a lady in the 90s, there's no better place to do it than right here and right now, 35, 36 years after the 90s are in a rearview mirror.
Beginning is the hardest part. Our action plan is a graduated program.
Listen, Rachel, you and I are probably, I don't know, maybe they're on the same age. If you're a millennial, you probably did. Like, I had pens on me. Like, whenever I went out someplace and I was single, I had a pen in my pocket. I met a girl at the local water park here once. I had a pen in my swimsuit. We were playing, like, later we played mini golf, and I was like, I'm glad I got this pen. Yeah.
Maybe my wife.
My wife.
Mastering the art of meeting women. You may want to take notes about what happens as you go through this month.
Maybe.
Also, it may be very useful to review this video, especially the 5 approaches.
Now turn to like chapter 1 of your workbook. This should have come with like the ABCs of selling course that I took.
During the first
Brooke
week of
always
the
had a
program,
lighter
we suggest you
at parties and hung out with the smokers.
Do that. I keep a lighter, not because I'm looking to get with anybody, but like typically if you're going to be asked for something, it's going to be a pen, a lighter, an aspirin, or something along those lines. I keep all those things. Not because, again, I'm not getting with anybody out there, but it's nice to be useful. And if you're in the market, or on the market, as it were, those things will help. Like, if you don't smoke, but don't mind if a woman does, buy a pack of cigarettes and put them in your bag. It's not hard, because if you can show a function, people will want it.
Right.
Whatever that is. And this is you.
Concentrate on the
try not
inner
to be
game.
weird.
Spend some time, maybe a few minutes each day, visualizing yourself
Thank you,
approaching
Andy.
women in a successful way. Try to see yourself with as much detail as possible, using each of the 5 approaches, having an interesting conversation, and then getting the woman's phone number. This technique of visual...
Right, just be a helpful person. Whether you want to stick it in or not. Have a lighter, have a pen, have some ibuprofen or Tylenol, whatever. Have like an allergy pill, get a Zyrtec, something over the counter. So like if somebody needs something, you've got an in. Whether you could just be looking for a friend, or maybe you just want to be a nice person.
Right.
Yeah, have a utility belt. I've got my anti-shark bat spray over here, my toothpicks, my aspirin, got a couple of tampons, because you never know. Just be a person. Have a big
is
knife.
very powerful and is used by Olympic athletes,
I don't
successful
know,
businessmen,
A whole
and
jug
many
of
others to
Kaopectate.
get
Yeah,
comfortable
watch
with
out for the anal leakage in the 90s. Yeah, you could put together a whole, this is kind of nice. It's lighthearted. Instead of the true crime aspect and putting together like a kill kit or a murder bag, imagine going to Walmart and buying like a small package of tissues, a lighter, some pens, Kaopectate, allergy medication, Imodium, Tylenol, all these things. And just like carry it around in a briefcase and they go, oh man, anal leakage strikes, or I've got a headache, or I got a piece of salted pork in my teeth. You could be everybody's hero. Just do it.
with success before
Pee is stored
it happens.
in the balls.
Because of
Women
the way
love
the brain works,
unsolicited
the
tampons.
visualization becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right, because you could be that guy where you see two ladies talking and one goes, "Do you have a pad?" And the other one goes, "No, I'm not on my period." You can go, "Excuse me, ladies, I hope this isn't weird." And then the selfie of your dick falls out of your wallet. Then you have to run. So take that out of your wallet. Don't do that anymore. Just keep them in your phone.
At this point, it's also helpful to get a buddy to support you through this program. Ideally, somebody who will go through it with you.
I'm not saying that would be unsolicited. I wouldn't just like pretend like I'm Gambit and just like fan him out in between my fingers at a bar, or not Gambit, maybe like Bullseye.
Wolverine.
Because I'm not gonna have any energy powers. Like I'll pull out like 4 or 5 tampons, and just throw them around the bar. Then they slip behind ladies' ears, who I know are on their period, and they go, "Ah, what a lifesaver!" It's my mutant power. I know when people are on their period, I throw tampons behind their ears like ballpoint pens. What would my superhero name be? We're getting too deep into that.
You can support each other and have somebody to talk to about what happened. During week number 1, we also suggest you start smiling at as many
I mean, not like one of those square Polaroids. You guys remember, like, back in the day, and maybe they still do, like the Polaroid Instamax, or not, no, the Instax is now Fujifilm, but like the pictures were 1 by 2, or maybe less than 1 by 2. They're real small. You want something like that. Real tiny. So if it does fall out, hopefully you could. You don't want something super big, right? Because like maybe that is a card you play with some people. I don't know. Exhibitionists probably do that sort of stuff, but like keep it small.
Are you happy to see me, or is that an unsolicited tampon in your pocket?
Catch their eye and smile. Now, some women will be a little uncomfortable and look away. Remember, they aren't used to this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Olin Mills and get a whole sheet of wallets, 1 8x10, obviously, because that'll go in the living room on the credenza for guests.
A lot of women will smile back. That's all you have to do the first week. Sounds simple. But
Hay fever tablets. How old are you, Brick?
This crucial step will get you comfortable with making contact with more women, and will set the stage for the next.
I always carry Primaquin in case somebody comes down with malaria, since it's 1952 and we're in the Korean War.
Steps. During week number 2, we suggest that you focus on striking up conversations with women when you find the opportunities present themselves.
Organically.
You're not trying to pick them up, just getting used to talking to them more often than you would.
Be a person.
Let's say you're waiting in line in the supermarket, or you're in an elevator. And normally you just kind of sneak glances at her or be
you got a polio vaccine. Good call. Good call.
lost in your thoughts. Well, this time, just say something.
I don't know, Brick. Maybe where you are, hay fever is still used, but hay fever feels like so old timey. Like when you say hay fever, I think of like the black and white Wizard of Oz.
Maybe hay fever is like valley fever here.
No, valley fever is a very serious disease.
If it leads to something, okay.
Yeah,
but
keep
that's
smiling.
not the point for this week.
They made 2 movies about it.
During week number 3, we suggest you approach 4 different women and ask at least one for her phone number. This is your practice week. Don't worry
Just get them to the Sting house. Chris will handle the rest.
about results. You just want to find out what works and what doesn't. We suggest you try using as many of the 5 different approaches as you can so that you can see what feels most natural to you. We also suggest that you start out with women who you feel you have the best chance with. In other words, don't go for the most attractive women right off, but work your way up to that. Everybody's going for the top 10%, but these women are often the least interesting and most difficult to get.
Right, and here's the thing, too. Like, you can try to land 110 or 5 2s or 2 5s. I mean, the math always works.
Sure.
Like, you know, a lot of dudes in my high school did that strategy. They like would just have like a stable of 5s and 6s, whereas some dudes would have like 1 9 and just be there. It's all up to you. Like there was, when I was an electrician again, like my coworker for this massive job, we were all over the state of Arizona. He basically was on Plenty of Fish and all those hookup sites back in the day. This was like 15 years ago. Just in every small town we went to, he would find someone to invite back to our shared hotel room and fuck them on one occasion in front of me. So it's doable. If you want to like shoot fish in a barrel, you can. The numbers will add up, but dear God, do it alone.
Take it easy on yourself and start approaching women who will be fun to be with and also who you could have some early success with. Remember, this week is about testing your skills, so don't worry about results.
Early success. What would you
During week number
qualify
4,
that as?
we suggest that you approach 4 new women with the goal to come away with at least one phone number.
Christian Mingle?
Yeah, he was always on Christian Mingle.
This is the week you put it all together and come up with your best effort as a result of what you learned from this course. Now, by this time, you'll have talked to 8 women and put into practice a variety of approaches. If you got a date, great. If not, that's great too. Remember, it's just a matter of time. There's
Did
lots
he at
of women
least
out
ask you
there.
to join him?
Dude, I've told this story a lot, and it's fucking horrifying. It also felt like, whatever. It was a terrible time. The pattern of my life at this time was this. We would drive to a small town in Arizona, Parker, Yuma, Show Low, Bullhead City, wherever. Some small town that the bank there needed an upgrade in their HVAC control system. So what we would do is from Monday to Wednesday, we would bust ass and get the job basically done so that Thursday and Friday were basically troubleshooting and gold bricking. So that like Thursday and Friday night, we could go out to the local hole-in-the-wall bar and get shit-faced. And week after week was like that. I'm surprised I survived. But like, I could feel it growing in momentum because sometimes he would have someone from the valley roll up to where we are. In one instance, he invited a girl who brought her mom and another dude. All of those 3 were sharing an insane amount of coke. And the dude, who was like at that point the 7th wheel on this tricycle, kept pushing the idea of an orgy. And like, once to 3 times, that's like, all right, a joke. I see it's like awkward. You see what's going on here. We're all clued in. Like, this is a fuck meetup. By like time 12, it's like, no, dude, you're not going to see my dick. Not now, not ever. Please stop bringing it up. Whatever. One of those times we were in, I think it was Yuma, at this bar. We closed it down. I lost sight of my coworker. I'm fucking totally shit-faced because every time he saw me without a drink in my hand, he would put one in it, and I'd have to go ditch it somewhere because I was gonzo. So I'm like comatose out on the front step of the building. I'm watching these 2 ladies catfight each other. He brings this woman back to our hotel room after they bought like a dozen street tacos from this vendor. She spills them all over my bed, so there's guac and taco grease all over the place. I can't even deal with that. My rage is only held in check by the sheer amount of alcohol coursing through my veins. So I am like in a state of sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I'm there on the bed. My face is horrifyingly pointed in their direction. I can't move, but the rate, like, I don't know. It must be like what locked in syndrome is, what it must feel like, because I was so very angry, but I couldn't even move. I just sat there and silently boiled as I watched this dude plow this girl. It was a terrible night, you guys. It was a terrible fucking night.
There, and some of them are going to be really turned on by
Look it directly in my face.
The most important thing to remember is after this 30-day period, you should have a huge advantage over the rest.
Why was I watching? Here's why I was watching. I was drunk and like near blackout. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but at one point I did find enough energy and coordination. Like I rolled over and I felt like Frankenstein's monster first coming to life. My limbs didn't, like, I was seriously, like, it's the drunkest I've ever been. They weren't really paying attention to me, and our beds were less than 16 inches apart. So even if I turned my head, which I eventually did, and I was able to get my earbuds in because I was rummaging through my stuff drunkenly, I found my iPod, I just hit play on anything. One thing that thank God, the sounds, all the squishy noises, gone. I go, and I breathed a sigh of relief. And it was only then, after the gift of sound to blot out the squelching, that I realized there was a smell So it didn't matter. I saw it, I heard it, I smelt it. It was everything in my world at that moment, and I could not have been more angry.
They clearly have bad manners.
Yeah,
says Rachel.
clearly. When I fucking woke up and like the dudes, okay, so this is such an obnoxious story. So it was two teams in that town because they had two banks. So it was me and this guy, and then Dude R and Dude H. I don't want to use their real names. In a room next to us, we shared a wall. So they also got to hear my coworker plow the fuck out of this bar skag he pulled home with us. And so I was seething when I woke up, still just boiling blood. I had to walk over and knock on their door because I needed a part from their van to finish the job at where we were. And he goes, "Hey, man, I heard what was going on in there last night." And I gave him like I wanted to shoot a laser beam through his fucking head. And he goes, "Did you join in?" I wanted to fucking strangle that man more than any other time in my life. I said, anyway, guys, construction workers are fucking scumbags.
The rest of the guys out there. I'm sure you're going to really appreciate the effort you put out when you're sitting across from this very attractive woman that you're crazy about and who thinks you're the sexiest guy in the world. The best part will be that you met her through your own guts and initiative. Good luck.
Bye.
Thanks for letting me steal your records.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
I live here, that's all. Oh.
You were just going to keep walking? Like, hey, what the fuck? My bitch left.
Well, night. Good night.
Adios, madame.
Oh,
Thought you want to invite me up for a fuck? I mean, drink.
Nightcap?
Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
No.
Guess not. Have you got a Victrola inside?
Why, yes, of course.
Would you let me hear this one? Otherwise, I'll have to take it home and imagine how it sounds.
You don't have a record player, my dude?
But you have a box of them.
You just spent God knows how many hours in that glass observatory with this woman.
Don't you have a machine at home?
We'll always have Paris. Sorry, by Paris, I mean herpes.
John Luke.
Well, why on earth did you buy 27?
Okay, I get what's going on here. You want to smash it. Phew! She throws it across the street and shatters on the building next door. I'm not a record collector, but are you supposed to do that? Just grab it full-fisted with the
just
oils and
swing it
stuff?
around.
Let me smash. There you go.
What a hunk.
As if.
I'm in love.
Oh,
Do
baby.
you know the most important thing to say when you first meet someone? Are you aware of the 3 things that the opposite sex finds the most attractive? Do you know where and how to find the dream
Is
relationship
there another video?
you've always
Is this a
wanted?
preview?
The answers to
Yeah.
these questions and
Yeah.
much more are available in
Yeah.
this breakthrough new program.
It
Love,
comes on
Sex, and
audio
Dating in the
cassette.
90s.
Oh my God, look
the
at it all.
secrets of successful romance have been
Is
transformed
this like what you listen to while you sleep and you learn what an abattoir is?
into the most
It's like before the
effective program of
Men
its
Are From
kind ever
Venus or
developed.
whatever that.
Men Are From Mars.
Mars, whatever. Women for Venus.
Oh my God. Guys, what the hell? Men, what was the old, girls are from Jupiter to, girls
more
go to
stupider.
Jupiter to get more stupider. Boys go to Mars to get more candy bars. It's like Muzzy Ferroni. Je suis la Juvie. Boing.
Stephen Newmark,
Yeah,
Rebecca
we do.
Signor, and Lou
Yeah,
Ann
do go to
Cole
Jupiter. I
are
knew
the
it.
leading
Yeah.
experts in the field of love, sex, and dating. Together, they deliver to you the latest information taken from their live seminars.
Mr. and Mrs. Erotic America. Boys
Now
go
you
to
can
college to
receive
get
the
more
powerful
knowledge.
results from these seminars in the comfort of your own home. Call now and order Love, Sex, and Dating in the 90s and discover where and how to meet people easily.
God, what was sex like in the 90s? Was it all just missionary? Like, when was perversion invented?
How to prepare for a date to ensure success. how to use the keys to seduction, what men and women really want, their sexual
I
secrets.
bought these, but my order got mixed up.
You ordered in 8 languages and you quit smoking. Hey,
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Bonus.
Mazel tov.
Now you can talk to women and tell them that.
Yeah, I bet. No, the 90s, I don't know, man. I feel like the hair era was like the 60s through the late 80s. I feel like by the 90s, we were starting to get clued into the fact that, like, hair is nothing but trouble. If, like, evolution has put us on the right track where we're losing hair in all the right places. All right, I think we get what's going on here. They had a very nice program where they could get you to find a pretty lady. All you had to do was simply be a human being and treat the other person like that. So, yeah, you can take this to any decade, to any person. Take the tips I gave you and just be a useful person. Like, you'll get, you'll win friends and influence people.
Get your tactical belt.
Yeah, just get a little tactical setup, maybe a small backpack with like a compass on it and a whistle in case you get lost in the woods. Just get like a few of those like tinfoil space age astronaut blankets, like a fire starting kit, a Rambo knife, so you can always just be there for her, whether you need to stab a bear in the throat or light a campfire to make some s'mores. A little water-based lube.
The tip of the tip of the tip, FCO.
Just take the tip. All right, guys. So that's all I got for you today. I hope that helped. If it didn't, maybe you're already married or something. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Tampons, Ambisol. Oh, yeah. Get something for hemorrhoids, depending on your age bracket. Yeah. Just be a woman-coded person. Yeah. All you have to do is, play by the stereotypes. Women love eyelash length, that sort of stuff. Yeah, but again, if you're old enough to have this realization, and it maybe isn't even old enough, because there are, like, people in my family still chasing the idea of a person rather than the person. I don't know. Yeah, try out those tips, Brick. Let me know how they work. I'm sure they will. All you have to do is be confident. Give her all the knowledge you have about Kiwis and the kite festivals that you go to, and then you'll be nailing that shit from coast to coast.
You just need to talk. Like, an accent goes a long way.
In New Zealand, where everybody has the same accent,
if you find somebody that's not from there that lives there now, I mean, whatever.
Brick, find a tourist. Get them
Get
whatever
them
your
to
equivalent
stay.
of a green card is.
Yeah.
Nail them enough to where they want to stay.
Exactly.
Forget about people with the same accent as you. Find anyone else. Yeah, you got this. Yeah, put on a different accent.
Do a
You
different
pretend
one.
like you're American. I was just watching The Boys, and Simon Pegg plays a character. He plays Huey's dad, and has the most forced American accent I've ever heard. Do that.
Yeah, just do that.
Something. I don't know. Yeah, go to do something along those lines. Just get the tactical belt and change your accent. The two most important things to walk away from. I meditate this day because you got me on it. Hey, nice. Yeah. So not all of my advice is trash. Look, Andy is a living example that sometimes, broken clock, blind squirrel, etc. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. From here on out, we will be working 2 jobs. We will come back next week. I'm going to try and keep squeezing in 2 shows a week and maybe hopefully get enough time to do true crime stuff. But with my 1 day in office and the schedule that you honestly don't care about, you're not asking me about it. I don't need to tell you. It's busy around here. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much. Pretend to be a Confederate soldier. Depending on if you're in the South or not, it might... God!
Oh, yeah, we'll have to finish the rest of that commercial video next week.
Oh, yeah. We've got plenty of stuff. We got more training videos. I've got plenty of content, so it's not like I don't have shit to do. It's just I don't have much time in which to do it. I just simply have... And
you don't have Riz.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. See you in the Discord. I think there's a link in the show notes if you want to join our Discord. It'd be nice to have you. And that's all I got for you. So until next week, so let me get this, because if I hit that button, it won't work. Smell you later.
Bye. God!
I hit the wrong button.
Bye.
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.